Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now begin the session, A Message of Hope from soprano Sumi. So please welcome her with a warm round of applause. Thank you.
Sumi Jo's active opera participation made her to win Grammy with her opera album, recorded and conducted by Sir George Salty, Die Frau ohne Schatten, as Grammy's Best Opera Album of the Year in 1993. She was also awarded one of the most important awards every soprano hopes to win, La Sciola d'Oro Award, which was given to Best Soprano of the Year in Italy in the same year. She also has been highly motivated to participate in activities to reunify North and South Korean in the means of cultural exchange. Sumi Jo's effort for general audience to come closer to classical music made her try to participate in singing World Cup song and drama OST titles, which has been very successful, and she became one of the reputed figures among Korean people. Sumi Jo currently has 48 recordings to her credit, including 10 solo albums. These recordings include complete operas, oratorios, operetta, and other orchestral works. Her first crossover album, Only Love, consists of music from Broadway, has sold more than 700,000 copies.
Hello everyone, I'm Sumi Jo. I'm quite nervous and thrilled to be standing in front of you today to discuss such an important topic. It would have been better to have been asked to sing instead. Corona. Despite its royal and noble connotation, is a word that has inflicted pain and fear of death on us for more than a year and 4 months. It's upended our everyday lives and took away our freedom. Since the virus's incessant attacks and unending social distancing restrictions have locked people in their homes, a considerable number of theaters, cinemas, music festivals, plays, and concerts have been closed or cancelled indefinitely. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about my own personal experience during the pandemic rather than speak to you objectively. At the beginning of March of last year, I was in Glyndebourne, UK to be the judge of an international opera vocalist competition. A huge crowd had gathered to witness the passionate competition among young vocalists from all over the world. After the long-awaited final round, the winners were hugging and rejoicing together, throwing joyful parties. The next morning on my flight to Rome, I could sense that something bad was happening. Flight attendants were wearing masks, and some passengers were coughing, rife with anxious energy. So I unconsciously pulled out my mask, which I had always carried around, even before the pandemic. When I arrived in Rome, I finally realized the gravity of the situation, and I almost panicked as I recalled all the times I had shaken hands with everyone and we'd kissed each other. Those worries cost me many sleepless nights. I spent a few days trembling in fear. I was at a loss for words when I saw the military trucks slowly wading through the darkness of the dawn, carrying countless COVID-19 victims from the Bergamo region in northern Italy. My Italian best friend Patrizia, after being bedridden for a while, suddenly passed away due to the coronavirus. When I first heard the news, I was so devastated that I wasn't sure whether my heart was beating right. It was heart-wrenching to imagine her family's pain, since they could not even say goodbye to her. However, as if that were not enough, I faced the worst crisis of my life. Singing is the reason for my existence and is as sacred to me as my own life. All the cities in which I was scheduled to sing were closing down their theaters and eventually canceling concerts. In retrospect, now that a year has passed, it was a reasonable measure considering the danger of the virus. But at the time, the emptiness and psychological pain came as a tremendous shock to the singer, who had the stage as sacred as her own life. When I came to my senses, I saw that this tragedy had befallen others as well. Many musicians lost their footing and began worrying about what to do for a living. A young violinist abandoned the violin that he's played for more than a decade and got a delivery job. Some of the choir singers were infected and couldn't return home. Many people felt lost and in despair. In this unequipped European healthcare system, the healthcare providers couldn't do anything due to the shortage of hospital beds. On the other hand, my country, South Korea, showed a remarkable readiness in responding to the pandemic based on its past experiences in dealing with SARS and MERS. I was deeply relieved that my ailing mother and other family members were well taken care of. In this hard situation that only got worse over time, with all the concerts and events in 2020 canceled. For the first time in my life, I felt that I was at a dead end. What was even more serious was that I'd stopped doing my vocalized exercises. The first thing I did habitually every morning as soon as I opened my eyes. As soon as I would awaken, I would stretch my arms and check my voice, singing, me, 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 in order to know that my voice was safe and it would come out okay. The vocalize shined on me like the first light of day. But I gradually stopped singing. Daily counts of infections and casualties continued to increase, and I shut my mouth. Then, ironically, songs began to flow from the balconies of Italy. The singer shut her mouth, but audience members were the ones singing in this weird situation. I watched them sing with a heavy heart. Why are they so happy? Could it be the cheerfulness and gaiety so characteristic of Italians? Do they not know how this world is crashing down, how the children in South America are dropping dead without respirators? I shifted in my bed restlessly at dawn and posted something on my social media account. Culture and music provide solace, but human lives and safety come first. I meant it. I felt that way. I wanted to tell the world how I felt. People are dying. I'd been knocked unconscious by this terrifying, intangible virus that takes away our right to say the last goodbye. More than anything, I was afraid. Living alone and unprotected in a foreign country felt very difficult and scary for me. Singing under such terrifying circumstances, what kind of melody and what kind of lyrics can outweigh such fear? I was met with a surprising number of comments the next morning. Your music gives me joy and hope. Your music consoles me and puts a smile on my face. I want this pandemic to be over soon so that I can see you on stage again. Every morning, I begin my day with your music, deeply inspired and moved by it. I'm always rooting for you. Oops. How did I forget? How could I abandon my music, the most noble gift that I possess, the gift that I can share with the world? COVID, I yelled. I'll never succumb to you no matter what you do to threaten us. As long as I can, no. I'll definitely sing and shout with the utmost sincerity, with the most beautiful voice. I have to chase you away. I opened the keyboard lid of my piano that'd been closed for a long time. Since I'd stayed home for some time, my nails were trimmed short, which is the perfect state for playing piano. I turned on a camera and began singing Schubert Ave Maria quietly. A long time ago, I sang this song in front of a Parisian audience on the day my father passed away. This time, I was singing the song for COVID victims.
Merci. Et maintenant, je voudrais faire un petit prière pour mon père. Et il nous a quittés pour toujours aujourd'hui. Et ce matin, c'était un funérail en Corée. Mais je suis ici pour chanter pour moi et pour vous. Et je ne sais pas si c'est juste que je suis ici comme chanteuse, mais je suis sûre que mon père sera très très heureux à nous pour être avec moi et avec vous. Et merci pour être avec moi ce soir. Pour moi, et je jamais oubliera. Et je voudrais dédier ce concert à lui. Aussi, je voudrais chanter Ave Maria de Schubert pour lui. Merci.
Early morning the next day, I posted this on my social media account. I was devastated when all my concerts were cancelled. My best friend's sudden death due to COVID was unbearable to me. Some of my colleagues are still unable to return home. Now, everyone needs solace. Now is the time that we need artists and musicians more than ever. I pray for everyone. Stay strong, everyone. I wanted to say goodbye to Patricia, my dear friend, who had suddenly passed away since the pandemic had stopped me from doing so in person. So I decided to do it in my own way. This was because I could not ignore the sheer pain shared by the bereaved family and friends. Flames of passion shot through me again. So I took part in the recording of a song titled "Life is a Miracle" with Patricia's son, Federico, who is a composer and singer.
A volte sai, volo da qui, ad occhi chiusi rivedo noi.
Ti ricordi momenti che restano lì e torneremo a riprenderli confinanti io e te. Everything will be as it was, 'cause life is the greatest miracle. Everything
The silence of love is a miracle. We wanna move, we wanna go, but we can travel within the soul.
close your eyes and fly with me. Everything will be as it was, 'cause life is the greatest miracle. Vola qui e guarda cos'è miracolo io e te. E ritrovarsi ancora per non lasciarsi più. Everything will be as it was, 'cause life is the greatest. Life is the greatest miracle.
We wanna move, we wanna go, but we can travel within the soul.
Even though we are not safe from catching this horrible virus, we took the risk and filmed a music video as well, with the fingers crossed. Those moments that are now memories, we'll return to it, we'll take it back. We are so close to one another. Everything will be as it was, 'cause life is the greatest miracle. Even when the world is standing still, we must not stop. We need to do anything we can. Call your mother and tell her you love her. Engage in self-care. This way, you'll be the one who spreads hope. Ignite the light inside you. Make it brighter and shine on those around you. You all should be a part of this. So, I've now shared my story of how I got through this pandemic. And that's made me wonder about a few things. Can we restore our lives with the arts and music? Amidst the crisis that has upended our everyday lives, how much value can we place on the arts? after all these months of complete suspension, how much of the arts activities will be restored? Also, how will this shared experience of the pandemic change the relationship between us and the arts in the post-corona era? I was told that the Korean government has been working on several ways to support artists and artist groups who have faced an abrupt crisis after the virus broke out. Being led by the Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism, many organizations in Korea, including Arts Council Korea and the Seoul Arts Center, are contributing to this movement. In the wake of the pandemic, German Chancellor Angela Merkel once said, "In these difficult times, the existence of artists has become ever more significant." I guess history repeats itself. Right after the Second World War ended, the UK initiated an effort to build the nationwide medical insurance program and Arts Council England. The goal was to rebuild the nation while safeguarding citizens' well-being. I believe the UK at that time was committed to boosting public health by introducing the medical insurance program and to healing citizens' trauma by launching the Arts Council England. So then, why should the government invest in the arts and help artists out? It's because the arts have such power to bring about societal change and heal people. A piece of artwork and a piece of melody could give people room to reflect on themselves and find their own raison d'être, their own reason to live, however personal. If that kind of experience is repeated, we come to feel a sense of solidarity that connects us. By bonding with each other, we learn to value the society and community around us. Let's take Schubert's Ave Maria. Say you are listening to this song in time of hardship. This song will give you a lesson of hope and protect you from despair. It works like medicine for the soundness of your mind. In times of social disruption and turmoil, arts and music have a greater impact on us than discursive rules and laws. The fact that arts and music portray human weakness makes them more powerful. Now, let me share a story of my mom. She was only 15 in 1950 when the Korean War broke out. Her life was at risk and she nearly starved to death. I once asked her, "Mom, how did you make it through the war? How scared you must have been." My mom answered, "I just managed to hold on. That's how you survive the terror." Holding on doing what? How did you get by? I read Rilke's poem and listened to a song on the radio. There was nowhere to find food in the barren land. My stomach growled with hunger every day. When I read poems and listened to music, I could feel as though the war would soon end and I would be free again. This childhood story of my mom is something I can never forget. The girl who went to bed holding a book of poems and listening to the radio. The imagery gives rise to a train of thoughts. Even after all these years, even though I'm in different circumstances, Can we do the same? Can we survive this pandemic or future pandemics just by holding on? When people try to hold on, some pray to God. Others, whether intentionally or not, find good music or quotes that help them feel safe and strong. While the pandemic was threatening us, people across the globe had to hide inside their homes and stay confined as if they sought shelter from bombing in the middle of a war. Because of the social distancing measures and quarantine restrictions, all festivals, theaters, museums, and galleries have closed down. Even international organizations such as Cirque du Soleil have filed for bankruptcy after a period of financial difficulties. Many artists and production staffs who worked in theaters, opera productions, and the film industry have encountered hardship. It was a cruel reality. As you all have felt, we'll probably be unable to return to normal life as if nothing had happened. People talk about the new normal and are busy discussing what will happen in their lives. For sure, there will be people who say, why hold concerts amidst the pandemic? Or why all the artistic activities? However, we look for various ways in which arts can exist in this daily life we've been given, so as to demonstrate our will to create the world in which we want to live. It's an expression of our hope for the future and our courage to act in the face of challenge and say, never give up. While staying home all day, I felt so bored, not just because I was unable to move around, but mostly because I didn't know how to communicate with the world anymore. I was on Facebook, Instagram, but I wasn't actively engaged on them. At first, I didn't enjoy that I had to sing online. With each passing day, as if to prove that humans are social animals, I felt a strong desire to get along with people again and to know how others were doing. Even though I couldn't meet them in person, I missed those days when I felt connected with my audience. Perhaps it's my nature. Not long after, I started to run my own YouTube channel. Never in my dreams did I think that could happen to me. I uploaded videos and did live streamings to talk about subjects unrelated to music. What if I had stayed the same, wandering around the world as if I were a bohemian? Then I would not have been able to own my own YouTube channel. I would not have imagined myself singing through the screen of my mobile phone. They say, if you don't give up and stay optimistic, you may actually change things around you. I guess this was right. I believe the way we perceive arts or music had been upgraded much, or had progressed much, from a means of entertainment to a means of expressing consolation and sympathy. For example, people remember pop stars and their songs when they pass away. Last year, when the virus was roaring on, BTS launched Dynamite, and it was a gift to global youth. One study says music helps people control negative feelings and is stronger than any medicine in healing people's minds. I found I could very much relate to this. As a classical music artist, I have many things to say or complain about online concerts and live streaming concerts. But let's put that aside for now. I'd like to take this opportunity today to express my appreciation and love for those whose innate talents are healing and encouraging a lot of folks struggling with corona blues. Hope comes even in the darkest of times. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Like I often say in interviews, we are all artists designing our own lives. So too, I pray for all the artists and musicians who are endlessly seeking virtue in their fields of expertise and who keep questioning the society we live in and finding answers with their creativity. I hope the dim reality will never stop our artists from being remembered. I hope they keep brightening, touching, and hugging the world. I pray for all of them. It was such a pleasure speaking to you, and I thank you for sharing these moments with me.